Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. Here we grow again. It is a Monday, and if you guessed, you know it's magical. I'm just surviving the Hurricane Hillary onslaught here in Southern California. First time a tropical storm has made landfall since 1930 something here. And, you know, as LA is known for very little weather, you would think we were going to, you know, be under alien invasion. I literally, guys, yesterday I got a text from, local warning alert kind of thing saying, do not drive, life threatening. Now, keep in mind, this was a hurricane that turned into a tropical storm. By the time it hit land here, it was a decent amount of rain, but the wind was like 15 miles an hour or something. I grew up on the East Coast in Virginia, North Carolina border, where we get real hurricanes, like where it fully can hit, full on, like 100+ mile an hour winds a few times I remember. And that's something different. And this was, it was kind of funny to see. I mean, I'm glad it didn't end up being anything. I haven't heard of any deaths or anything crazy, but they acted like, if you leave your house, you were at crazy risk of death. And it was, some rain, a decent amount of rain for 24, 36 hours. And then after that, we got, all of a sudden I went from in the morning having the, alert about life-threatening, do not drive, do not leave your home. And then it was like, take cover, there's an earthquake. So literally twice in the same day, I got different alerts that were like, you are in grave danger due to natural disasters. And it was just like, this is interesting. What is this all about? Because I don't know that I've ever, getting one of those alerts in a day is one thing, but for two totally different things. And of course the earthquake was like minimal. And I don't know. They're just like text happy now or something. But anyway, maybe I should talk about over dramatizing things today, but or maybe that will come up. Who knows? I'm going to, I enjoyed pulling from the Untethered Soul, Michael Singer's deck that's based off of his book of the same name, Untethered Soul. I enjoyed pulling a few cards the other day. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pull a few cards to just kind of see what comes up. It's a wonderful book. If you haven't checked it out, highly recommend it. And I really like the kind of playful way I can just pull something randomly and see what comes up. And and just kind of share what I'm feeling regarding that particular. Each card has a different clip, if you will, from the book or quote from the book. But obviously he felt was powerful enough to put into one of 52 cards, right? So, all right, let's go ahead and dive right in. First one. The spiritual journey is one of constant transformation. To grow, you must give up the struggle to remain the same and learn to embrace change at all times. Whew, that's a challenging one for all of us. Um, we get so stuck in our ways, right? We're such creatures of habit. So and meanwhile, the only thing guaranteed is change. Have you have you looked at anything? Does that bring up anything in your own life when with this idea of embracing change and clinging to something? Why is that? Because we think that's safe. We think that's the path, and it's really sort of the opposite of faith. You know, this idea that things need to be a certain way or they need to show up as I expect it. But what if we really could step into that state of awe and wonder around, I have no idea what's coming next, but all I do know is it's the best thing for me. And I really, change is the only thing that's guaranteed throughout eternity for us. We're going to constantly shift. And that's, of course, what makes what you have so beautiful and special and precious. And so whenever I often think of this with people with young kids, and I always say it to friends or whatever who have little kids or whatever. I'm like, cherish it, because that little 5-year-old that you have, in a sense, dies is like the wrong word, but, goes away, disappears, right? And transforms into something new. So really enjoy and be present in the current moment, because it's transforming. Even if it seems like it's been that way for a long time, your parents have always been there or whatever, it's transforming. There will come a time when that is not the case and you will long. I mean, I am someone who's really good at being nostalgic for things that I took for granted previously when I had them. And so I've really made a conscious effort to, this is transitionary. This is not going to be here at some point. There's going to be something different. I'm going to be different. My experiences will be different. I will have shifted. And that is the beauty of our reality. It gives it that precious, everything, who said, this life is ultimately a tragedy. And that's looking at it through a pretty, pessimistic lens in a sense, but there is some truth to that, right? In the end, it's a tragedy. We all die, right? And we all, you're the beautiful soul that you are, or the avatar rather, the character, the human that you are, will disappear. And once the last person, remember that alive that remembers you is gone, then there's a certain level of like, okay, well, what's is there any mark? Is there a book or maybe a podcast or something you etched on a wall or something like that? And that's all that will live on beyond you. And then at some point that will disappear, right? It's ultimately it all goes away. And so getting into that, like Yoda said, train yourself to be okay with losing everything you fear to lose. And that's necessary to become a Jedi, right? And of course, in those movies, that's really what led to. I think it's such a great metaphor. This story showing, if you watch the early Star Wars, Anakin Skywalker, that's what causes him to go to the dark side. He's clinging to his partner who he loves, her life. He doesn't want her to die, and so it creates an opening for him to explore learning the dark side so that he can learn how to cheat death and save her from this vision of her. And literally that's what led to her ultimate demise and his demise. And so it's really interesting to think about, like, that clinging, that holding on is ultimately the thing that leads us to darkness, right? And it's in being graceful with allowing things to come. If it comes, let it. If it goes, let it. And just constantly reassessing our lives. Are we being graceful and letting go of things that are their time, their season has passed, right? Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a quick moment to tell you about our sponsor, HelloFresh. I'm sure by now you have at least heard of this hugely popular food delivery service that makes cooking much less of a headache with its pre-portioned ingredient recipes and simple step-by-step preparation instructions. What you may not know is their delicious recipes are ready in 15 minutes or less and are 25% cheaper than takeout. And now, in addition to convenient meals, it's easier than ever to skip that extra grocery store run by adding snacks, sides, and more to your weekly order. The HelloFresh Market has a curated selection of over 100 items. As someone who can sometimes suffer from decision fatigue due to all the projects and demanding work on my plate, I personally love the convenience of having my meal plate decisions already figured out for me with something healthy, fast, and fresh. And if you're interested in trying out HelloFresh for yourself, as a listener of this podcast, you'll get 50% off your order plus free shipping by going to hellofresh.com/positivehead50 and using the code positivehead50. And once again, dropping, it brings us so more fully into the now. Whenever I find myself taking for granted or not appreciating my partner, for example, my girlfriend, at this point, I reflect back on the times in the past where, oh, they're not here anymore, and I should have appreciated them more. And I can really tap into the frailty of the experience. And, even if we're together for decades, that's short in the grand scheme of things, right? If we're together for 50 years, what is that? It's a drop in the bucket of eternity, right? It doesn't even show up on a scale, right? So, and yet it seems when you're in it like it'll last forever, but that's really just not the case. And, embracing change, appreciating what is simultaneously, that is a recipe for a successful navigation, I would say, of this life. All right, let's see what else we got here. If you go very deep, that is where you live. You live in the seat of consciousness. A true spiritual being lives there without effort and without intent. You live in the seat of consciousness, becoming that calm in the eye of the storm, right? Everything else is swirling around and you are deep within yourself, truly living as a spiritual being without all the hang-ups and fixation on the material world and matter. If we can, that's what comes up for me with this one. It's like, if we can just move fully into our most natural seat, vantage point. There's so many seats you can sit in let's say you go to a concert, you can sit on the very left flank, the right flank, the center, right up front stage, way in the back. Well, what's the best view, right? I want the best view. The best view is getting deep into the seat of your consciousness, seeing things from that vantage point where you're becoming that observer that is watching the play, watching the art that is your life play out without over attachment to it. Without this, it really goes along with the other card, right? And without being clinging. Clinging is the opposite of trust and faith and trusting the mystery of what's unfolding. And just coming into that deep trust with the universe is such a powerful place to live and operate and navigate from, and allowing just the wheel of life to just do its thing. It's churning, it's dancing for you, and it's not meant to be over associated with. As this is really, I think, pulling your higher self more fully into your body and seeing and merging with this part of yourself that exists beyond the physical. And I think that is the dance that we're in this process of integrating our human self and higher self, non-physical self, more fully. And as we do that, we move more fully into the seat of consciousness as a true spiritual being lives there without effort, they're not attached to what is or won't happen or will or might. It's just like, it just is. And I'm observing it. And when I feel inspired to take action, I take action. And when I don't, I don't. And I don't need it to be anything at all. All right, that's my story for today. I'm sticking to it. I have another song to play from the artist Robbie Fitzsimmons I played on Friday. This one actually, a good friend of mine, Ted Saunders, actually directed, and it's very appropriate for this topic. Actually, it's called Circles, and it's really referring to a lot of what is said here today and talked about here today. I believe it was a dedication to another friend who died years ago, mutual friend, Tomas Verde, who I remember years and years back before he suddenly passed, and it was a big, a lot of friends in the LA conscious community, let's say, were of course shocked and saddened by his passing, and it made me think back about him today deciding to play this. He would always give out these little chickens, rubber chickens in a glass necklace that was like, he would talk about manifestation and magic and law of attraction and creating. He was just a full-on character. And I believe, if I recall, what Ted told me is that this was a dedication to Tomas, originally, or at least inspired by his death. Which is beautiful. And actually, my son Bradley, there's he has a quick moment in this. If you look up the YouTube video, what the concept they decided to put together for a video is just showing people grappling with complex emotions of grief and pain. And I think my Ted was inspired by his mother's recent passing when he kind of came up with the concept for the video. Very simple, but very beautiful and powerful. And the song is much like the other song, Wake, that I shared last week. It just stunningly beautiful. I love this artist, and hope you do too. This is Robbie Fitzsimmons, Circles. Until next time, journey well. Love you so much.
As the winter snow come and go without a reason or warning. Easy as a winter snow, you come and go without a reason or warning. And when you're gone, I'm left alone to carry on. Maybe I'll see another morning. Round and round we go in circles. Here we are, back where we started once again. If you choose to take my hand, understand it's just a cycle that we're in. But I guess what I'm saying is, if you ain't got no better reason for you to stay, well, don't just walk away. At least say goodbye, 'cause yesterday was better when you were around. And I love you, but I was wondering if you can't find a way to say what you really want before you walk away. At least say goodbye. Seems a shame to leave behind the cliffs we climbed, the peaks we scaled, and the weather. Through the seasons no one knows, the tornadoes we chose to overcome together. Round and round we go in circles. Here we are, back where we started once again. Leave me now or let me in before the dawn, before we're back where we begin. But I guess what I'm saying is if you ain't got no better reason for you to stay, well, don't just walk away. At least say goodbye, 'cause all these games you're playing are bringing me down. And I love you, but I was wondering if you can't find a way to say what you really want before you walk away. At least say goodbye. But I guess what I'm saying, if you ain't got no better reason for you to stay, well, don't just walk away.